Was there ever a time though that you kind of felt like you bit off more than you could chew, like going on those 6 months? I mean, look, we all go through roller coasters. I've always said it's a roller coaster experience. You have your good days, your bad days. But was there a time, just looking around the room as well, and just going, listen? As I said, I was 8 years older, but like your opponent was 20 years younger, right? Yeah. So, just looking around the room, were you like kind of like, because you also talk, as I said, about not just partaking, not making up the numbers, like, but was there any point that you just like, I shouldn't be here? Was that thought ever there?
Not I shouldn't be there. Not I didn't deserve to be there or had any right to be there.
But why did I sign up?
No, I never questioned that. No, I was always clear on that because of Bev and Dylan Thomas. But there were times, especially when... So I went into it really fit. So I believe now, as I look back, I was strong, I was healthy, I was fit. And a lot of the guys and ladies who joined weren't as fit as myself when I joined or when we started. So for the first few weeks, I was doing okay. I didn't need to lose much weight. I wasn't heavy. I was strong. I was healthy. But over the time, I didn't increase as much, whereas the other guys did. And then towards halfway and beyond, you know, the guys were getting fitter and their natural strength was starting to come through. And my aggression, or my fitness and my aggression, I was lacking in areas of technique in areas of technique. So I never, there was only really 2 times where I thought about pulling out. The first one was totally out of my control. And it wasn't when I was busted. It wasn't when I was injured. The first time was I went through most of the program almost waiting for a tap on the shoulder from one of the coaches. And I was scared of that. I was scared of one of the coaches saying, mate, seriously, well done what you've done. But yeah, we don't want to continue. And that was a bigger driver. So because of that fear is a bigger motivator than anything. Because of the fear of being deselected almost, to use a military term, I trained harder and more aggressively. The other time, which was under my control, was later on in the series. And I'd heard a whisper that somebody was questioning if I actually should go through and fight because of my age. And when I heard this, I was fuming. So the person hadn't actually seen me train. They hadn't been to any of the sessions, or they'd heard anecdotally. And it was the question, do we want somebody this age fighting? What happens if? And there was the phrase, maybe an exhibition bout could be arranged. And I hit the roof. There's no way I was going to do an exhibition bout with somebody who was obviously a lot more talented, a lot more skilled, who could help me through the experience. I would rather, and I made it abundantly clear that I wasn't into an exhibition bout. I wanted to get into that ring and into the arena and see where it went. It wasn't about, to be honest, it wasn't about winning or losing. It was about just finishing the job.
No, and the reason I ask is, once again, you mentioned something in your book, and this is what I say about looking around the room. When you'd be warming up, there's a section in there where you're talking about that you'd be shadow boxing people. But as soon as that person would turn around, you would turn away. So you would shadow box them behind their back, but as soon as they would turn around, you would be like, I'll shadow box over here kind of thing.
Yeah. So you've got 30, 40 people in the gym, and there'd be sessions where you'd have to shadow box. So I was visualizing, instead of just shadow boxing against a dot on the wall or this fictitious person, I was visualizing. So if you were standing next to me and you were facing away doing your shadow boxing, I'd be standing, imagining through your height or your your size, I'd be visualizing my sparring against you. But obviously I didn't want you to know I was doing that because I didn't know if I was going to fight you or not. So as you started to move and turn, I'd then shift somewhere else. And I was constantly visualizing. As we'd run around the gym in the morning to get this part of the warm-up, and I'd be watching the guys, and I'd be thinking, who's it? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? And I'd be looking them in the eye, and I'm looking for a gap. I'm looking for a flaw. I kept notes on every one of the guys. This didn't come out until afterwards, actually. But I kept notes on every one of the guys who I was up against. I kept notes on their injuries, and I kept notes on their strengths because I didn't know. We don't know who we're fighting against. Obviously, the guys who were half my size or twice my size, I knew I wasn't up against them, but I kept notes on them because just in case I was going to fight with them, I needed to have some type of insight. And yes, as we warm up, I'd look at them. I'd be watching them. You know, in the moves and the training, and trying to think, right, if I'm up against you, what am I going to do?